with bombs falling all over the place. We got missiles getting launched in Iran. We got Iran retaliating by blowing up stuff all over the place. They're not even aiming at their enemy. They're just aiming at everybody. I got a question for you guys. What is going on in this world? What happened? In the last few weeks, we've taken a turn where we've seen things most of us have never seen in our lifetime. And I wonder, as it connects to this week's Torah portion, what we can learn from this. After all, this week's Torah portion, we're talking about when the Jews got out of Egypt and now they're building the nation. They're in the middle of building their actual home, the Holy of Holies, and the Mishkan, and they're making the blueprint for what will eventually be the Holy Temple. And meanwhile, you look out at the world and there's destruction. We're talking about building, and there's a saying that you're supposed to live with the times, and all we're seeing is destruction. What's going on here? Where's this coming from? And what's the point of it? And as a decent, good, upstanding human being, what are we supposed to learn from this? So I've been giving this a lot of thought, and this is what I've come up with. The politics of it all, I really don't want to get into, because everybody has an opinion. I'm sure you can hear thoughts that make sense and sound good from somebody else. I'm going to skip that. But what I will say is that something that I have discovered from observing this that's new to me is very interesting. We've always been taught that building takes a lot of effort and destruction can be done very easily. And that's why building is so much more impressive. You work on something, you get yourself a degree, you build yourself a business, you raise a family. But destruction, God forbid, death, pain, something breaking, I mean, it's just the amount of technology it makes to make a fancy crane. And then if it just slips off the side of a mountain, it's just destroyed. I can go on to many examples, but here's what I think. When we look at what's going on with America and Israel going out there and preparing their entire fleet and their aircrafts and their missiles and their bombs and whatever it is that they feel they need to do, again, politics aside, it seems like destruction. But when you think about it, destruction to the enemy is the goal, because that's the functionality of that machine. But the actual strategizing and logistics of it is actually very much so building. And in that case, we are able to live with the times if we could take a lesson out of it. If we're able to say to ourselves, wow, look at the amount of intention and effort and coordination between some of the greatest minds in the country in their fields in order to set this up. Again, I know this might sound cold. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about the destruction of it. But when you think about what it takes to fight a war, you can actually see the power of building, and you can live with the times. Because the same way it took a lot of effort for the Jews to become a nation and for the Jews to build their home for God on earth, if that's what we're going to call it. So when you take a look at what's going on out there in the ocean, on the other side of the world, it's just incredible what they're building in order to accomplish what they need to do. And in that sense, we can connect it to what we're doing. We can observe it, hopefully from a distance, God willing. Hopefully it'll end soon. But we can take out the lessons from it of, wow, look what it takes. I mean, it's just astounding. As an American, we boast the most powerful, amazing army in the world. I'm just a pawn. Who knows what's really true? But assuming it is true, you don't, even with all that, if it's facing the wrong direction, what does it help? How many times are you driving on the highway and you see tanks being taken down the interstate from one area to another area? Logistics is a main key of making it all work. You can have everything you need. If it's in the wrong place at the wrong time, you ain't got squat. So if we observe it from this angle, we can say to ourselves, wow, there sure is a lot to learn from what's going on in the world and apply it to the Bible and see how building, even in the face of something that its ultimate goal is to destroy, it's an incredible machine that takes an incredible amount of effort and coordination and years of, preparing in the background, something that now they bring to the forefront that the world's seeing out in the public. And you got to just stop and you don't have to, but I would recommend you stop and you observe and you say to yourself, wow, that's really, really impressive to be able to build that and coordinate that. And I'm not even involved. It also humbles me. I have nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with the aircraft carrier, nothing to do with the plane, nothing to do with the coordination. I just do my part. I try to make a living so that I could do my part from my country in my little way. But everything that's being coordinated by our wonderful soldiers and patriots and all these people, it's a fascinating thing to observe, and it can give you a little bit of a passion towards appreciating the power of building, even in the face of destruction. Hope you guys are enjoying. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends. Have a great one.